Congresswoman Kat Cammack from House Homeland Security, along with the chief economist of the Texas Public Policy Foundation. He's Vance Ginn. It's great to have you both on. Congresswoman, first to you. Taxpayers own the SPR. Taxpayers paid for it. It's not Biden's slush fund for Democrats to win re-election. I mean, is this threatening U.S. energy security? This is now about winning votes in November?
Hey, Liz, good to see you. And yes, I think that they are doing this because they are so concerned about Biden's sinking, plummeting poll numbers that they are desperate for anything. Look, the last time that Pelosi or Biden probably filled up a gas tank was the year I was born, which was 1988. So let's be honest. They know nothing about what it is like to be an average American today trying to fill up your gas tank and buy groceries for your family. It is ridiculous. We need to stop telling our adversaries exactly what we are going to do and what we're not going to do. And this move to basically drain a third of our strategic oil reserves, this is ludicrous. This is putting our national security at risk.
Yeah, it's about potential future shocks, right, Vince? I mean, the SPR was established, you've been talking about this too, after Nixon to reduce the impact of supply shocks after the Arab oil embargo. We don't have a supply issue now. It's a production issue because the Biden administration is sitting on the heads of the oil companies. It's not meant for the Democrats' shock of losing their seats in elections. We've never seen something like this before.
Well, thank you, Liz. And I mean, you're exactly right. The problem here is we have not a national emergency, but a crisis that's self-imposed by the Biden administration. They have taken it one chance after another to reduce the production of reliable energy that comes from oil and gas. When you think about the Keystone XL pipeline, the other regulations that have been imposed, one time after another, they have reduced the amount of production and led us to the situation that we're at today. You know, oil prices were up 75% before Russia invaded Ukraine, and now it's up 9% since then. This was a problem well before that situation even happened, even though the Biden administration likes to point the blame at everyone else, but really it's at the front door of the White House.
And, you know, to Vince's point, Congresswoman, this only has a limited effect on gas prices because of how much oil can be released at a time. It's really a political play to make it seem that Biden is, you know, doing something about the problem. It's only equivalent about to 2 days of global demand. So can they really market time this to sell it now and then buy it back at a lower price? I mean, Trump wanted to do that when oil was at 24. So what is he going to do to make oil go down, the prices go down? Is he going to ramp up U.S. energy and U.S. manufacturing of that energy to make those prices go down and then buy it back?
You know, this is what's crazy. The White House sent out a 4-page long email today to congressional staff detailing how this was Putin's price hike on fuel. What they're doing with the strategic oil reserves, it's not going to lower the prices. It's not meeting the demand. It's putting us at risk. And the thing that we need to do is get the domestic production back up, but they need to release all the red tape that they have tied our producers up with. That is what is going to get us going again. We're sitting on it. We're standing on it. But all they have done is deflect, redirect, and misdirect the American people. Yeah, and that's why you're seeing people registering Republican voters at the gas pumps.
Yeah, and, you know, now they're saying use it or lose it on the oil leases for the oil companies, Vince. But the thing is, you know, they're talking about 9,000 leases. The oil companies are pumping flat out on that's only about, I think, a quarter of the leases, maybe 20% of the leases outstanding. Oil companies are pumping flat out. The reason why they're, you know, can't pump immediately is because they're worried about what the White House is going to do in shutting down U.S. energy.
Exactly. This is not something that you turn on with a light switch. This is something that takes time to ramp up, not to mention that we have labor crises and trucking crises happening right now within our country. It is a nightmare, and we need to actually let the American public and the market work as it was intended, get government out of the way.
And Vince, I want you to take a listen to Nancy Pelosi being blasé about inflation. You know, $5,200 a year more in inflation costs. I mean, the White House is normalizing. Democrats are normalizing massive inflation spending. They're pounding a lot of money into the system. You need producers, you need jobs, consumers, production, manufacturing to mop up that excess inflation and money printing and government deficit spending. Watch Nancy Pelosi here. Watch.
We cannot allow the fossil fuel industry to use this as an excuse to reverse everything we're doing to save the planet. One of the things I think that the president may say, I don't have this as a fact, is that we will use the Defense Production Act to speed up diversification so that we're not so dependent on oil. Unemployment went down practically cut in half. And when that happens, inflation increases. It's the way it is.
So it's just the way it is. What do you think?
Well, again, they're trying to do this blame game on everyone else except for where the problem really starts. And it starts from overspending by Congress, by the Biden administration, overregulating. And whenever you get so much debt and deficits increasing, then what you're going to have is the Federal Reserve going to come in and it starts to imprint more money. And we've had overspending, overprinting of money, and that is a recipe for more inflation that we're going to continue to see. And so they're going to blame it on oil and gas and greed and Putin's price hike. But really, again, this is on the Democrats in Congress and on the Biden administration from their bad policies time and again.
Yeah, they keep talking about, Putin's price hike, Congresswoman. But what about Biden's price hike on oil and gas by raising taxes on the oil and gas companies by $43 billion? So, the thing is, it's that, when you look at what the approach is, again, it's raising, taxes and spending a lot of money to fix every problem. Right? So that's been the approach. I wanted you to listen to what the media has been saying about they're bemoaning the fact that Biden's poll numbers are down. Watch this.
Problems Biden has is he's not getting credit for the things that even the public likes.
Rick made this point that President Biden's not getting a Zelensky bounce.
He's not even getting credit for the things that he's handling okay.
Biden's wartime policies are popular, but he's not getting the credit for them. I mean, it's fascinating to me the way these numbers have shaken out. Why doesn't Joe Biden get credit for doing the popular things Joe Biden does?
My God, there's jobs. There's good jobs.
We're 3 million jobs down versus pre-pandemic. Congresswoman, your reaction to what you just heard?
You know what? Republicans and Americans across this country are going to make sure that Joe Biden gets all the credit that he deserves for ruining our country, running it into the ground, record inflation, making our country less safe, and having an instability just ripple throughout the world economy because of his policies. We'll make sure he gets all the credit that he deserves. But again,
Okay.
I go back to this. They are doing this by design.
Yeah.
This is absolutely something that we could fix if they had the political guts to do so.
So they're drawing down on a bank account, the SPR, to fix a disruption in supplies, Vance, after they disrupted U.S. energy. Your final word, Vance.
The 1 million a day is only about 5% of the total amount that America consumes on a daily basis. It's only 1% of what the globe consumes. And so this is something that's very small. It doesn't change the underlying fundamentals of the oil market, which will happen if they reduce those regulations. So we need to get back to what the Trump administration was doing before of energy abundance and independence.
Congresswoman Kamek and Mr. Ginn, it's good to see you. Come back soon. The battle between Disney and